I want to explain to you, even though we procrastinate, even though we deal with some of us depression and anxiety, some of us feel really overwhelmed lately, we have tons of problems, but there are some shortcuts and there are some quick things that we can do that really change the game. And while there are many different things we can do, in fact, I'm going to share quite a few different strategies and techniques in this coaching course, the biggest thing that we can do takes absolutely no effort at all, which is an incredible shortcut. It's really, really important to get this, that the biggest thing takes no effort. So the thing that's really going to change your life has nothing to do with, being hard. It's actually really, really easy. Okay, so I want to talk about the three challenges that I think are the biggest things that we face in life, and I'm going to tell you the solutions that I'm going to teach you in this course that are going to help you deal with it. Okay, challenge number one, we are not happy. We literally don't feel arrived and fulfilled and happy in the present, in the now, okay? Many of us are depressed. Many of us are anxious. Many of us, again, are overwhelmed. We're stressed out. We're not sleeping right. We're not getting our needs met in a lot of ways, and it leads to just being unhappy. So when we talk about being successful and accomplishing things, even those of us that accomplish tons of stuff, make tons of money, oftentimes that doesn't lead to happiness. So we got to figure out happiness. What does that mean? Okay. The solution here is literally the three pillars of happiness. I'm going to go into great depth on these three areas. Number one, how to increase pleasure, how to have more pleasure in your life. There's clear scientific ways on how to do this. Increasing your pleasure increases your happiness to a great degree. The second pillar on this is how to live in a flow state. Okay, how to actually be connected to flow. We see baseball players and people like that, and we think, oh, well, it's easy to have that profession, be in a sport and live in a flow state. And I'm here to tell you that accountants, lawyers, other people, right, entrepreneurs, can find that flow state. And I call that feeling like it's stillness in motion. Time kind of changes, and we actually really love and are connected to what we do. It has a lot to do with being in our strength and being really connected to what we do with our day. The third pillar is how to find your purpose. If you're here and you're not living into your purpose, or you don't know what your purpose is, we don't feel very happy about our lives. But once we find our purpose and kind of know, we can really get behind something, feel really connected to it, etc. Challenge number two, we kind of suck at accomplishing goals. So if that first challenge is we're not happy, right? We're not arrived and feeling good in the now. Our being isn't there. Well, this is like our doing, right? Our doing, we stumble and we procrastinate and we can't accomplish goals. We don't make as much money as we want. If we're a business owner, we don't have the sales and income. Our marketing habits aren't right. If we're in the job world, we're not getting ahead and getting the raises that we want. So we don't accomplish our goals at the level that we want to. For this challenge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the three pillars of achievement. All right. We're going to talk first about really connecting with what we want to accomplish. So many of us don't even know really what our desires are, and we don't know about how to use the power of vision. This is very similar to creating a blueprint for a house. You can't build a house unless you've got a really detailed vision and blueprint of specifically what you're trying to build. So we got to get connected to what we actually want and be able to see the vision of it really, really tangibly. That allows us to get connected and focused and move toward a specific thing with power. Secondly, we've really got to figure out and understand how to set realistic and tangible goals. Now, this is not your old standard goals talk, hey, just set up SMART goals or whatever. This is the most cutting edge, interesting stuff on how to create goals, how to connect them to that vision and desire so that you actually are drawn to them and more automatically accomplish them. And the third pillar under this one is how to master habits. Okay, we're going to talk about a lot of how to create the behaviors in your life so that you're habitually and automatically doing the important things. You can't, have the body that you really want unless you master the habit of eating a certain way and being into fitness or going to the gym or whatever, right? You're not going to build a business that's big unless you have the habits of your sales practice and your marketing practice, etc. So, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, success is not an act, a singular act, it's really about habits and our rituals. So I'm going to show you how to master habits, what it takes to create that, and get the good ones in your life. And what the neatest thing about that is when you start to create the good habits in your life, it automatically squeezes out the bad ones. So we can end those negative habits and create really empowering positive habits in our life automatically and easily. Now, the third challenge that we have is we suffer from self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. This is enormous, and this is the one that really matters the most, because you can have the blueprint for the life that you want to create. You can know how to have more pleasure in your life. You can know how to be in your flow state. You can have all those other things mastered, but if you are set, if your internal mental state is set with limiting beliefs, negative inner talk, if you're set to sabotage yourself, you can make a ton of money. You can have a lot of success, and then what'll happen? You'll blow it all. Right? You can lose a lot of weight. What'll happen? You'll, find yourself at the fridge, like really blowing it out. We suffer from self-sabotage and limiting beliefs, and many of us, many of us don't even know that we do. So the solution for this are the 3 steps to effortless rewiring. And here's the secret. This is the one that's not only most important, but it's the one that we can do on autopilot. I'm going to explain that in just a second. First pillar here is we have to know if we suffer from it. Some of us are very aware that we have negative beliefs and negative inner talk. Some of us are not so sure, or we think, no, that's not us. Well, I have a test to show you what's going on internally for you. And here's the deal. Awareness itself can be curative. What I mean by that is that just seeing the limits that you didn't know about a moment ago can really clarify things and help you free yourself from it. Some of my biggest breakthroughs have been waking up to a limiting belief or something that I didn't even really know I had, and as soon as I knew I had it, the whole world changed for me. The next thing is understanding the source of the limiting belief, and why this is important is that's the way that we can actually end up completely getting free from it and just kind of laughing about it. Here's the deal. Whatever your biggest limits are, they have the potential to become your greatest strengths. And that's because they're based in wounds of our growing up. All right. So the places where we got hurt, where we've shut down, where we've decided to protect, right? We end up with these negative thoughts to keep ourselves safe. And when we understand where that comes from, there's incredible freedom and new behavior. And what happens is, I'm going to explain this in the course, it becomes our greatest strength. And lastly, the third pillar here is how to change effortlessly. I'm going to talk to you about how to use things like hypnosis, NLP, so that we can passively sit back, listen to some audios, and have our mind literally reprogrammed to deal with this self-sabotage and limiting beliefs and come out truly transformed and different. So why would you listen to me? Now, you may know a little bit about me, you may not. Let me just very quickly give you my story. I went through, as a young guy, major abuse. I went through horrible sexual abuse, physical and emotional abuse, different tough things. And what that left me with was I didn't really have the skills emotionally or mentally to just feel whole, right? To feel okay. I didn't feel safe. I didn't have a lot of trust for people. And what this led to was I became drug addicted and addicted to alcohol and substances and all that at a very, very young age. And what that led to was me becoming homeless. I ended up in jails and institutions, right? I was living in my car for a while and had all kinds of mishaps. And then, I was basically kind of as bad as you can be out in the world. I was very, very dysfunctional, okay? Complete disaster. Things, I was totally poor. I was living out on the streets. And then, I should also share, I got really, really sick, right? Here's me suffering from cancer years ago. And you may notice here what a rule follower I am, right? I'm sitting in the non-smoking area, and my mom was coming up. I hadn't seen her yet in this picture, and I was out getting my chemo drip and having a cigarette right in the non-smoking area. So, I've been a rebel the whole time, but I've kind of, gone to the beat of my own drum a little bit. I want to share that I also used to be 75 pounds heavier. Here's me, trying to look like I have it all together, but I'm really not happy in this. But I figured out how to lose the weight. Here's me, 75 pounds lighter, feeling really happy and energetic and together, right? So something shifted in me. I went from this complete disaster, and what I ended up doing, I went from abuse and sickness, being homeless and poor and out of shape, to now, right? Here I am today, really in my purpose, deeply happy, running my own business, really, really loving life. And what happened along the way was I came back from being homeless. I got a temp job, and in a very short period of time, I became the youngest vice president at this company that I was working for, right? I had no credentials. I was doing it all on my own merit. I was doing it all by figuring out kind of what worked, okay? So I created a system to succeed, a success system. And I really tested it. I started to test it on the people that worked for me as I went up in the corporate chain. I threw out what didn't work. I added in things that did work. And I started to really find success for this, right? And I started to get a line outside my office of people that were coming in to get what at the time was, some form of leadership from me. But it turned out that I was coaching all these people. And so I started a podcast online, not with the intention to coach anybody, but I started to get thousands of followers on there, hundreds of thousands of downloads of this podcast called Fundamental Shift. And people all over the world started to ask me for coaching, right? Ireland, Japan, Australia, all over the United States. They're like, what do you cost to work with? I need a coach, da 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 da. And so I was sort of brought into this new world. I decided to leave my corporate job and begin the business that I run now. I've been doing it for about 8 years, and it's just been the most profitable, most fun, most amazing thing that I've ever done. And I get to help people, right? Here's a friend of mine, Sarah Riley. She says, Rob, you help turn the overwhelm into tangible action. I now feel more clear about what specific steps I need to make to move forward. And she thanks me really nicely, right? I've worked with rock stars like Eben Pagan. He says, I hired him as my personal coach. I talk to him 4 times per week, and he kicks my butt. I've been lucky enough to actually present at a few of Eben's events, and I helped him sort of add a couple of levels to Wake Up Productive a few years ago, and he's just been amazing to work with. Lisa, one of my favorite people, she says that in just one 20-minute exploratory session with me, she got more value than she had gotten in years of prior coaching. And Alex is another rock star that I've been able to work with. He says I've helped him literally destroy the highest leverage mental blocks that he had. So, today I am totally in my purpose. I'm completely connected to what I do. I make in a couple of days a week what I used to make as a vice president in a corporation, right, at the highest level that I could go to in a corporation. And I found the love of my life. I'm with Renee. We get to go to great concerts. We travel all over the place. I'm deeply spiritual and connected in that way. And, again, I make more now more now in 2 days a week than I did as a vice president before. So, that's why maybe you should listen to me. I have some of this stuff down. I've systematized this into how to be happy, how to be productive, and how to beat self-sabotage if you suffer from that. That's what's coming up in this course. The next video, we're going to deal with the science of happiness. I'm going to take you through those 3 pillars of figuring out pleasure, figuring out flow, and figuring out your purpose. I want you to master pleasure, flow, and purpose in your life, and that's only the first pillar. So watch your inbox. I'm really excited to be going through this with you, and I'm going to speak with you again really soon. All right? I'll talk with you. Bye-bye.